Christian, you talk a lot about each play being its own entity, and all adding up by the end of the game. But did you guys regain a little bit of your identity and personality against Atlanta? I think with the way offensively you were able to run that kind of thing.
Definitely. I think the guys up front did such a good job. Receivers did a good job blocking. Mac did a good. Everybody did. Played a big role in that game, but. I think when it comes to establishing your identity, you have to do that every week. That's not something where you just have it and now you're good to go for the rest of the year. It's a mindset that has to happen all the time. That's what's tough about this league is you have to be very resilient, mentally, emotionally throughout the week, so that come Sunday you're in the right headspace to continue to go.
Christian, there have been obviously a lot of talk about the running game in general, and your yards per carry were way down. Did any of that, I'm not suggesting you were super motivated against the Falcons, more motivated than usual. I don't know. Did any of that piss you off in any way? Just the talk of 3.1 yards, Christian's 29.
Yeah. No, the talk doesn't make me upset. I get it. I'm equally as frustrated. I don't want to have whatever the yards per carry are. I want to be able to score every time I touch it. So, trust me, whenever things don't go well, nobody's more frustrated than me. I might not always show it, but I'm, my biggest critic, and slow to compliment myself as well sometimes, because I know how much it takes. I know all these guys are working extremely hard to get this thing going. So, like I said, man, it's every week you got to earn it. Every week you got to show up ready to go. And when things aren't going well, I don't know if I panic as much as sometimes maybe the talk does, but I definitely understand it, and I feel the same way. I want things to work well every week, so that's my mentality.
How frustrated was Trent Williams, and what's he doing? How's he doing this season?
How frustrated is he?
How frustrated was he with that yards per carry going in that last game, and what's his?
Oh man, I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're 5-2 right now, and coming off a big win. Yards per, you can look at stats all you want. The stats tell a story, but they don't tell the whole story. And we haven't been great in the run game the year, but we were number one in the pass game. That should tell you, something. And it's once again, it's each week has a life of its own. Each play has a life of its own. Everybody wants the run game to work. They want the pass game to work. They want to score touchdowns. That's been true since the beginning of time. So there's definitely a sense of urgency, but I think there's always been a sense of urgency, but maybe, when things don't go well, you start to harp on it a little bit more.
How much did it mean to have
slow to compliment yourself? How good did it feel now that you had some time to reflect on how Sunday went, being that you had such a frustrating season last year, not being able to get out there, coming off of a huge season in 2023. Did you think back on that game? I know you don't want to get too high or too low.
Yeah, I try not to think about last year. It gets brought up a lot, but we're in week 8 now, and I've completely moved on. Ready to roll this week. Try to get out there and play our best football.
How much did it mean to
how much you kind of enjoy watching some of these young guys, the rookies, develop as the season goes on? Obviously, there's a lot of expectations on those guys coming into here. What have been your observations about the way those guys have grown without maybe pressing or trying to do too much in these roles?
Yeah, I think they've done such a good job playing to this team's standard, and that's been cool to watch because, coming in, sometimes it's difficult to adjust to the speed of the game and how you're supposed to play, and it takes a lot of reps and experience, but those guys have done a great job coming in here, playing fast, flying around, not afraid to make mistakes, and I think it's a testament to leadership and coaching and just kind of how we teach the game on this team. So it's been so fun to watch all those guys.
How much did it mean to you to have Fred out there? I know George even said you guys had to go to a silent count, or was joking about going to a silent count. But how much did that mean to you and just this team to have his support out there?
It means a lot, man. He's the leader of this team. He means so much to this organization, and just his presence is felt. I think it's motivating for all of us. When we see him out there and when he's around, it gives us a lot of juice.
Thank you, guys.
Tatum, how much did you, watch the Monday night game before you kind of got more into the film study of the Texans?
I watched a couple of it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I ain't watched the whole game. It's just, sometimes I have my own stuff to do. But me and Malik, we did it again. We went back and watched a couple of it. So the Texans, they have an offense that's, people would say they're struggling right now, but on tape I see a lot of playmakers that could capitalize if you give them a chance to. And I feel like it's going to be a good challenge for our defense and our communication this week.
Just out of curiosity, you speak about the time you spent with Malik. Fred Warner and Greenlaw were very close as players, and you can kind of see them bounce off each other when they were out there. Is that the same relationship between you and Malik, or is that growing as the season goes?
I'll say that, yeah, me and Malik, it's kind of the same, but it's also with the rest of the defense too, especially D. Winters, man. We hit it off pretty well. We all like brothers, man. It kind of remind me of college, so. And whenever we get a chance to spend time with each other, it obviously shows on the field too.
Speaking of college, who'd you lose the bet with at your Stanford sweatshirt?
Curtis Robinson. Stanford beat Florida State last week, so I didn't think it was gonna happen, but it's college football.
Can you get away with more of a lack of size at center?
Yeah, what is it?
Sense?
Yeah. Probably. I feel like I've spent a lot more time in like college. I just played center. I spent a lot more time there throughout my career, and so like the ways you find to compensate for like your physical shortcomings throughout just experience and reps. Like I've accumulated more of that at center than I have at guard. So I'm able to kind of, you learn through experiences how to play well at that position.
A lot of guys who sign late in the season, like you did last year, sign 1-year deals, don't just finish out the year. You signed a 2-year deal. What was kind of the plan then, and how much do you think that just that little extra time at the end of last year helped you transition coming back this year?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, anytime you can end a season, even if I ended up being here for 2 games, even if it was just 1, like just going through a game week, seeing how they do things, being around the people, that way you can hit the ground running a bit more in the spring. Like when we got back, I felt like I'd been here, and it helped with the progression of things as I learned the offense and everything.
Matt,
Kind of
similar to that question.
Obviously has hitched its wagon to balance or even running more than passing, ideally, like it was the other night. I'll probably say about 40 wins. What did it feel like as a line to finally get that going?
It was awesome. There's definitely like a rhythm to it, and a momentum that comes with it that's really fun to be a part of. And it was cool to be able to establish that the other night as the game went on. And the thing is, just like every game's a bit different as far as how that'll get done, whether it's run, pass, and it's really just about doing like what it takes to win that week. And so for Atlanta, that's what it was, and it was cool to be able to do that.
So necessarily won't carry over to Houston, but it could.
Yeah. You never know. Like you just kind of, it's I don't know. You hope to carry the positives week over week, but then each game is it's really its own thing. And this week is what do we got to do to win versus the Houston Texans.
What have you obviously were well aware of who Chris McCaffrey was before you got here? What have you learned about him just being his teammate?
I mean, how impressive the person is. Like you see guys from afar on film, and like you respect the talent. It's really cool to see what the kind of runner he is, and then you see his preparation, who he is like as a leader on the field, the kind of energy he brings, and it's so impressive. It's so impressive.
Matt, how would you credit to Jake Brindle goes out, you come in against the Atlanta Falcons, and it was pretty seamless. There wasn't really any drop off from the offensive line. That week of preparation, I mean, what would you give it credit to be able to kind of come in so seamlessly?
Yeah, I think just really good coaching. Like Coach Mercer does a great job of making sure we're prepared throughout the week. And like I was saying earlier, like really any of those first 6 games before that would have felt good about going in just because of how we prepare throughout the week. And I mean, Jake has been tremendously helpful since I've been here, going back to the spring, as far as like he's been in the scheme for a while, and some of the wrinkles and nuances that I was learning at the time, he was good at like pointing those things out to me and help bring me along. So
You're supposed to do it when you're pro, but Brindle doesn't really miss. Anytime he plays 50. You haven't been here throughout his 58 states.
I've watched it though, yeah, since whatever it was, 22.
But it'd be natural to think, I'm probably not going to play offense again. And then all of a sudden, in a split second, you're playing offense.
Yeah.
I mean, is it easy? You've been around now. I mean, is it easier for you to do that now than it would have been, earlier in your career?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's like year 6 for me. Like I played a good amount early on in my time in Atlanta, got hurt later, and then that coming off my rookie deal, I signed with Philly, got released by Philly, was out of it for like 3 weeks, was watching Atlanta played last week or last year on Sunday Night Football against Kansas City. Saw one of the linemen who I know go down. Got the call the next day. I was going there, and that Sunday I was suited up. I know there was a staff change in Atlanta between those 2 years, so like just having to learn the offense in like 3 or 4 days, and then suit up on Sunday. I was like, it helped me grow really quick, and I was just like, there's not a lot anymore that I haven't seen, or like situations that'll show up that are like that.
Yeah, experience is a good teacher.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard, but yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, you got it.
Appreciate it.
Somebody's place, like, and playing like their role, it feels good to like uphold that standard. And when you do it in front of the person, it hits different, I think. I've experienced playing in a role, like somebody going down, and you want to show that you're prepared and things like that for the person you're like replacing in a sense, and it just helps. It helps the energy, the motivation, and the support from the person that is hurt it's special when you have the right mindset as a group. Last week, personally, I feel like I didn't block well, things like that. I looked like kind of lazy in the blocking game, run game. It was kind of hot in Tampa, things like that. But you evaluate the games, and we just want to block better. Have more urgency to get on the safeties, the second level, third level. Sometimes we are on the second level, helping the line and stuff. Kyle has us like intertwined with the line, different things. So we have a lot of like assignments with the run game, and I think obviously we did a good job. It was a great day for CMC, so that was kind of the emphasis, and I think we did really well. So that just helps us get those results.
And a little unrelated, but you saw Coach Bill Belichick at Cal.
Yeah.
How was that? What was that conversation like? Anything funny, special? I know you said Max says hi.
No, that was funny. Max told me to tell him hi. He was just cool. It was just good seeing him. He's a big part of my journey and things like that. So the development I had over there was important. He was a big part of it. So coming back over here, it's a big part of the reason I am where I am. So everything happens for a reason. It's part of the story. So just going to visit him. Cal has a good environment over there too, man. Shout out to the Cal Bears. They knocked them down. So that was a dope game. Just a good time for me to relax and enjoy some football. And was getting ready for Sunday night. So the whole thing was just fun, and it was a good time to just lay back.
What's the biggest lesson you learned from Bill Belichick?
Just how to just like blue collar, just really like learn how to do things the right way, in a sense, like just being consistent in things. It was a different world for me. So I matured fast over there, and it was important for me. So still being myself, but it's just what you learn. It's how you grow up, and I think he did it big for me.
How have you changed as a person and as a player since your first stint with the Niners when you were much younger?
What Jennifer said, like I've matured a lot. It's actually crazy. I just do things different, like how I recover, how I take care of my body. I just got out of the sauna. That's kind of why I'm sweating right now. I just got out of the tubs. But just the little things that add up that I took for granted before, I was younger, so I could just move fast, but now in year 9, it takes a lot more. So I learned how to take care of my body and do the little things. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, man.